In March of this year, I turned on to the YouTubes to watch one of my favorite channels, and I saw something on there that created another project for me. So if you bear with me just a little bit, I'll show you what it was that I was watching.
It's a box. But what's in this box? I opened it just enough to kind of get a peek at it, and I was like, no, this has to be done on camera. This has to be done on camera. I already cut some of the tape. Let me make a cut right here, then I think I could just hinge it. Okay. Unreal. Okay. Okay. I don't know what else to do, just show you. Hold on. Now, everything is incredible. I will say, UPS did a number on it. When I saw them take it out of their truck, I literally watched them cartwheel the box up to the door before I could stop them. So we have a couple issues, and that's frustrating, especially with the amount of time that went into this. You guys can see what this is though, right? You see that this is a ship's wheel. This was made by Sassafras Valley. You see him in the comments all the time. Every video on so many channels. He has amazing, amazing comments. But he also just recently started kind of dabbling and doing videos on his own channel. And he has a video on turning these handles. And he might have a video up of actually working on this wheel already. Go over and check it out. Just go over to Sassafras Valley. I'll put a link in the description. I know he's already got a comment on here, and I'll be sure to pin it. You'll want to go check it out. I know he's going to have some stuff up on here. And I'm pretty sure he did this with Junior from SOT Metalworks. He said he worked with Junior from SOT Metalworks, so I can only assume somewhere on here. Okay. This is amazing. Ah! Okay. Yes. Okay. What is happening? And then he's got... Look at this thing. I know my lighting in the basement's not the best, but this is incredible. And then check out his joinery. Oh my gosh. And this must be the part that SOT Metalworks did. It says down here, it's hard to see through the bubble wrap, but it says Homeport, Derby, Indiana. Look at that finish on there too. That is amazing. That is amazing. This is incredible. And then up here, it's got the YouTube logo, CKS, YouTube Yacht, and the YouTube logo on the other side. This is absolutely incredible. Unreal. I don't have any other words for it. Look at the finish the SOT Metalworks got on that. That looks amazing. I can't believe Junior is able. Look how thin. Do you see how thin this little piece is? That may not seem like much, but this is just amazing. I'm gonna bet the SOT Metalworks does a video on this part and that part up there as well. So be sure to hop over to SOT Metalworks and look for this, because I'm gonna bet he does a video on this. And it is gonna be worth checking out. Junior just has awesome stuff to check out anyway. You just need to hop over there regardless. And then this, I can only assume, fits right in there once you have everything mounted. I don't know what else to say. This is unreal. I am very angry at UPS, I will tell you that. Like I said, I watched them cartwheel the box up to the door before I could get to them. And there's a third one over there. UPS managed to break off two handles, so that's frustrating. But I know he's going to have a way to fix it. And like I said, he said call once you open it, and I said, well, I got to open it on video, and then I'll give you a call. So I've got to call him as soon as we get done recording this. I wish I had more to say about it, but I'm pretty speechless at this point. I mean, we received a lot of amazing things on this channel, and we have a lot of amazing supporters on this channel who have really helped push us through. This, though, I don't know. This is unreal. I'm having a hard time getting over this. I can guarantee you one thing. This is getting packaged back up, and this is going to my parents' house, where there are no children, and there are no animals, and there's nothing that could possibly damage it until we're actually ready to install it. This is going to the safe space until we're ready, but amazing. Hop over to Sassafras Valley. He's in the comments. I guarantee you he's in the comments. And hop over to SOT Metalworks, because Junior's going to have a video on making the metal part, and Sassafras Valley will have a video on making several aspects of the wheel, and I'm assuming, you know, the total assembly of it. And I guarantee you we will have a collaboration in the future of Sassafras Valley coming up and helping me install this thing in the YouTube yacht when the time comes. That has to happen. We're going to make that happen. I wish I had a more constructed outro, but I don't. I don't really have a good outro, but I'm not sure it could get any better than this. I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. I mean that a lot. I appreciate all the support. Chelsea and I both do. It means the world to us. Well, before we get too sappy and a little bit overcome, I'm just going to go ahead and call it quits on this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Unreal. This is it's just unreal.
And just like that, I had another project. So I gathered up some more walnut stock, got it cut to length, got it sized. Then I found the center of the ends so that I could prepare to put it on the lathe. Before I could turn them down, I decided to take them sharp corners off. Just makes it a lot easier to round them out when you get them on the lathe. This turning process that I use involves a Shopsmith Mark V 520 with a lathe duplicator on it. I'll show in the next scene. There's a template that I made originally to make the first set of handles with, and I'm using it. The tool is fairly easy to use, but you have to practice a lot on it in order to get it to make really repeatable designs. So I'll just let you watch this. You'll see it first from the back, and then there'll be another view from the top where you can see how the follower and the cutter work together to shape the part. And here's that top view. If you look just at the bottom of the screen down there, you'll see a wooden template that is the exact shape of half of one of those handles. See the little diamond-shaped white? part at the top, that is the follower. Okay? It follows the edge of the pattern. You could call it a guide, I suppose. At the bottom, you'll see that the lathe is spinning the part that's actually being turned. It has a carbide cutter mounted in it. Okay, well, that'll take care of the rough cut. Make an adjustment. The way you notice that these are not as well defined in here as these are up here on the pattern. Have not cut all the way through at the ends. Have not sized the tenon yet. Okay? So the whole thing is a little larger than it needs to be. About 32nd of an inch. So what I'll do is I'll move this cutter out a 64th of an inch, which is easy to do. You have a dial on the back here that you can use to set that with. And then I'll recut all of them to their finished size so I can sand them. Sanding is done at a much higher speed on the lathe. The idea is that you start with a larger grit and move to successively finer grits. I start with a 120 and go successively finer until I get to a 400 grit. Everything that I put an oil finish on, I usually go to a 400 grit, unless it's like a tabletop, and then I might go to a 600 grit. But for these parts, they're going to go to a 400 grit. With the parts all sanded, tenons are sized, have shaped up the top edge so that it's very nearly the shape I want. But I've got to cut those ends off. I do that with a small finish saw, and then just a little bit more work after that, and these things are ready to be oiled. In order to remove that stub on the outboard end of the handle and blend it in so that it looks natural, has the shape that I want, I install a chuck into the lathe. Then I put the tenon of the handle into the chuck, turn it on, and use sandpaper to blend that all in. Takes a little while, but I'll show you just a little bit of how that works, then we'll move on to something else. Well, time to start putting the finish on the handles. I'm going to start with milk paint, brand, tongue oil. Had this bottle around for a while. It's pure, so it's really thick. I'll thin it down. Won't take very much. And it won't take much mineral spirits either. Let's see if I can do this without making a big mess. Whoop, that should be plenty. It mixes really quick. It's thinned down pretty good. If you don't, if you just put the regular tung oil on, it will eventually soak into the wood. It doesn't necessarily dry, it soaks into the wood for a long time. It takes quite some time, maybe 2 weeks even, for it to dry, and the smell doesn't really go away that quick, so it truly isn't drying until it cures. I don't know how long that is, but at any rate, if you mix some mineral spirits with it, it does two things. It causes it to dry quicker, but it also makes it thinner, so it's forced down in the grain of the wood. So what I'll do is I'll coat these spindles with this and check them in about 3 or 4 days. If they look dry, or if there's some places where it soaked in and some places it didn't, then I'll take and thin what's left of this a little bit more and put another coat over the top. But time for me to get started putting this on. All right, these spindles have been sanded. Then I've wrapped some painter's tape around the tenon because I don't want to get oil or any other finish on the tenon. It needs to be able to accept glue. Then I put some screw eyes into the bottom of the tenon so that I could hang them after I oil them. And also I'll need them hung as I put the final finish on it. Final finish in this case will be a lacquer. Okay, it is 30 minutes later, and you'll see that the wood is pretty dull now. Has a sheen, but not a shine. There are some places, though, where it shines more than others. You notice this in here is still wet up in there, but dry down in here. So that's what I'll even out. Don't really need it setting on that surface any longer because it'll just remain tacky. So I'm gonna dampen my rag and clean that off. Next time we look in, I'll be ready to put the lacquer coat on it. This is one of the offcuts from making the wheel. It's an internal cut. What I need to do, okay, this is the perimeter of the wheel here. Exterior and interior. As you can see, that radius right there matches perfectly with the interior. Okay. It also happens to have the hole location. Now what I did when I mounted it, if you'll notice, from here to this edge is less than here to this edge. Okay, that was intentional because I wanted the wheel to look thicker than it was. So I mounted the handle to the back. In fact, the handle very nearly touches the back wall. Okay. So at any rate, I need to replace those handles. And I want to put them in exactly the right place and exactly square with the rim of the wheel. Well, if you noticed in his video, those were broken off. They're ragged. There's really no way, at least with my level of skill, to take a hand drill and a 9/16 inch bit and bore it into an existing hole, perfectly centered, perfectly square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this is convex, okay? I need a concave curve that'll set on this. All I need to do is make sure that the inside diameter is going to be bored on the outside diameter of the wheel. All I need to do is make sure that the radius that I cut on this mating part is smaller than the exterior radius. So I'm going to put a block up here and I'm going to mark a radius on it. Then I'm going to cut it out and bore it. Then this part will be used as a boring template so that I can get it located exactly in the center, and the right distance from edge to edge. Then I should be able just to clamp it on the wheel and bore through the hole to clean out the place to put the replacement spindles. Will it work? No. It's the best shot I've got. I've a tangent across this section right here, okay? I found the center line of that tangent. It's right here. If I set this block with the center lines marked, if I set this block so that it is on that tangent and the center line is located on both at the same place, I should be able to take my compass and make a mark that has a smaller radius in it than the outside diameter of the wheel. So let me concentrate that on that just a little bit and we'll see if we can get it. Whoops. Yeah. Okay, doesn't show up real well, but that should be good enough now that I can cut that radius out on the bandsaw. I'll set that up, cut that out, should be on my way. Okay, so there's my radius. And sand it down, we'll see how she's going to fit on the exterior of that wheel. Okay, so that gets me just about where I need to be. Let me loosen that up, and we'll be ready to bore the hole. Well, there it is. That should be exactly where we want to drill. Let's go check it out. Okay, if I did this right, this radius should be smaller than the outside radius of the wheel here. If I touch it to the outside surface, I would expect that these ends here will touch and the center will have a gap. Let me pull it up into place and we'll take a look. Yep, looks like it's gonna work. See the gap right in here between the line and the block? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Reason for the gap is, in order for it to be perfectly square, this corner here and this corner here need to touch the block at exactly the same distance from this point right here. Okay. Maybe this will help you see it a little better here. I'll turn it over where the line continues. Okay. If they touch, if this is the same triangle from here to here to here across there, then this will be exactly perpendicular, so that whenever I drill through it, all I have to do is clamp it to the wheel at this end and clamp it to the wheel at this end like this, and it should pilot the drill bit exactly perpendicular. I guess we won't know till we get to Derby. Well, I gathered up all of the stuff I'm going to need to take to fix that wheel. Got the handles and the clamps and the drill and the glue and a hammer and a little touch-up wax and some padding. Got my template for drilling. Then I looked all over the place looking for a bag or a box to put it in. Couldn't find anything. Probably spent a half an hour on that. And then I looked down and guess what? Had one right here, disguised as a layout template. So, now I'm going to get it all packed up, get ready to go. Next time you see this stuff, it'll be in Derby. Alright, getting these all packed up, gonna head out, go down to Derby this next week. On Wednesday, that would be the 29th, I'll be stopping in to install these handles. Gonna use that as an excuse to see the captain and maybe even walk down and touch the YouTube yacht. So at any rate, I do appreciate you watching, and if you don't mind, would you poke that like button and leave a comment?